What happens when law, business, and life collide? Each week on Lead Counsel, your host Tom Tona will take a deep dive into topics related to the law, the business of law, and life. There will be insightful discussions with industry insiders, experts, and thought leaders making significant contributions and meaningful differences in their fields of expertise. Tom is the founder and managing attorney at TonaLaw. He has been a practicing attorney since 1994 and the leader of TonaLaw since it opened in 2001. The goal of this podcast is to provide you with free information on law and the business of law, and to give you actionable tools related to each of these areas. Now, here's Tom.
Welcome back to the Lead Counsel podcast. It is your co-host, Juliet, running the show today. You know, and I decided I'm having a lot of fun with this, actually.
Oh man,
so I love
created
songs,
a monster. I created the worst monster I could create. The better you get, the bigger your head gets. You're going to need a different set of headphones. We're going to have to buy you an extra large pair of headphones.
Buy me them. Buy me them now.
Oh yeah, see, I got to pay for everything.
Welcome back to the Lead Counsel podcast again, guys. We're back with another episode. This is your co-host, Juliet. I am joined today by your actual host, Mr. Thomas Tona himself. What's going on, Tom?
What's going on, Jules? What's happening?
You know, same old, loving life. What can I say? So, I know that you just recently came back from a mastermind in Florida, surrounded by multiple big players. And it's a smaller mastermind compared to what you usually go to, but it's a small group of massive players in your space. So what do you think was like one of your biggest takeaways from this week? And do you want to share what mastermind it is or no?
No, okay. It's a closed group mastermind, not to be, a pill, but it's already closed out, so there's no openings, and I don't want people contacting me saying, "Hey, I want to get in." It's not trying to be exclusionary. It's just full, and there's a ton of these things around the country. So,
just find your group.
Yeah, just find your people.
What is like one of the biggest takeaways you took from this week?
All right, look, I'll go through a bunch of different takeaways that I thought were excellent. One, actually, probably the biggest takeaway is this. So, a lot of people talk to me about rooms they should be in. Right. I get a lot of inquiries online and stuff. And just so you understand the makeup of this room, I was one of the smaller fish in the room at our level in terms of growth and revenue and scaling. There were several 8-figure players, multiple 8-figure players in this room. Several multiple 7-figure players. And so one of the biggest takeaways is I'm in my best habitat when I'm learning, and I'm at my best learning when I'm one of the smallest people in the room. And I don't mean size-wise, I mean when I'm the smaller fish in the pond that I'm swimming in, I'm learning from the greats. I am standing on the shoulders of greats. And so for me, it's really important that you're in a room with people doing where you want to go, doing things that are reflective of where you want to go. They're already doing it. So the 8-figure players, I have no doubt, will be 9-figure players in the future, right? As their firms grow and they build. And so to me, that's really important. So that's a big takeaway. You know what I mean? You're going to legal conferences that are going to put you in those rooms with people that are straight up marketing assassin, marketing directors, full-time CMOs at massive law firms. You're going to 2 conferences that I am sending you to. You're going to be in those rooms. You shouldn't be insecure. You should go in with a mindset of, I'm here to learn and contribute, because they're doing stuff. We're doing stuff different from other firms, bigger firms, where bigger firms can learn from us, right? And they're not competitors. They're not even in our market.
Mm-hmm.
right? They may be doing
Yeah.
the same thing across the country. So that's one of the biggest takeaways is that I think another big takeaway for me, these are the notes I wrote down, is you have to remain a source of disruption and innovation or you go extinct in the marketplace. And so one of
Expand
our
on that.
core values, one of our core values is innovation. I'm constantly looking for ways to do things better,
Mm-hmm.
make us better as a law firm, make us more efficient, make us better, a better client experience law firm. And so the day you stop trying to improve and innovate is the day that somebody else is going to feel and see and possibly seize on the opportunity to surpass you in the marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not about going extinct. I'm about being a market dominant player.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have a little story. So based on your first takeaway, being in rooms with bigger players, I want to share a little story about a conference Tom and I went to, not the past December, but the one before that. We were at a law firm social media marketing conference down in Atlanta. And I remember one day it was Tom and I sitting in, like, ready for one of the next speeches, seminars that was about to start. He's talking to this kid who's sitting in front of us, young man, and Tom's asking him, like, oh, where are you from? What do you do? And this is a perfect example of how to get yourself into these rooms. This kid was in law school. He didn't even graduate yet. He was not even a lawyer yet. And he was going to these conferences. He's like, I just want to meet as many people as I can, find someone who can lead me in the right direction. And if you're thinking to yourself, like, it's impossible to find these rooms, you don't know how you're going to get in them, like, just the fact that this person is not even there yet, but he took himself to this conference to meet people who are where he wants to be, that's prime example of how you do it. Do you remember that?
I do. And I'm like
You gave him your
smiling.
you gave him your ticket to the dinner.
Well, I was just going to
Yeah.
say, so a couple of things that I will add to that. So we should make this episode purely for law students and new law firm owners,
Yeah, let's do it.
right? Law firm owners that they're not sure if they're even going to break $100,000 this year. Okay. Because this episode is for you. So you bring up something that is unbelievably awesome to me. I remember that experience like it was yesterday. The kid was sitting in front of me, and everybody's a
He
kid
was
to me. I'm
he was probably like
55.
he was probably like 20, like
Right.
freshly
But
20.
I'm 55. This guy is still in law school.
Mhm.
He was the nicest guy ever. And he
Yeah.
kind of talked his way into the conference because these seats were $5,000 a ticket. I took you. That's what it cost me.
Yeah.
Right. And we paid for some special dinner, whatever. And this kid so impressed me that he did that. And he was the only student in the room out of like 100 people. So as I was talking to the guy, I was like, dude, if you were in New York, if you were in New York, I'd hire you right now
Mhm.
because I would
Yeah.
figure out a place to put you because no one does what you're doing. And I thought it was brilliant. So if you're a student listening to this or a new law firm owner, if you don't have the money, get yourself there anyway. Figure out if you can work the event for free
Mhm.
to be part of the event, to get access to the rooms. To say you don't have money for a $1,000 ticket or $5,000 ticket, you're just thinking inside the box.
And listen, like, those are large numbers, right? Like, to anybody
Well,
starting
wait,
out,
but it
that could
gets
be
better.
daunting.
It gets
But, like,
better.
it's worth it. Yeah.
I think it was like a silver level package, some kind of shit. They
It
gave
was
me
called
dinner.
the Diamond. It was like the top one.
Okay. So yeah, it gave me dinner with the host and all these other lawyers. And I was like, nah, I'm going to give it to this kid. I gave him my ticket and I said, and you just tell them that this is my ticket. I paid for it, but you're my guest. You're going for me.
Yeah.
Right. And because I just wanted the guy to have every advantage for the effort that he was showing. And if I don't know if the guy's ever going to hear this or not, I would love to hear where he's at right now, because I'm telling you that those are the things that set people apart. Was he nervous? Probably. But it was in his city, so he didn't have to travel. He showed up what was the worst that was going to happen? They tell him go away.
Yeah. And he
Right.
looked the part. He showed up in a full suit. Like he looked like he was there for business.
But
and
here's
he
what
was, you know?
anybody has to realize. If you're a new law firm owner, let's say you're not sure you're going to make $100,000 this year, and it's a lot of money. Let's say it's $2,000 a ticket. Craig Goldenfarb's thing and John Fisher's thing are both, call it $1,300 a ticket, and they're in
Florida.
Boston this year, right?
Oh,
I can't speak for these guys, but if you're in Massachusetts and you show up and you're a law student, I guarantee you they will figure out a way to get you into those rooms. Why? And don't listen. If Craig or John listen to this, don't get mad at me. But the reality of it is this: I have never seen a lot of the stuff that we are part of. And when I say we, my circle of people, my masterminds, that type of stuff, they try to give everybody a leg up. They try to give everybody value. I don't think any one of them would ever hold somebody back to the point where maybe they need somebody to clean up after. Volunteer if you don't have the money, but get yourself into those rooms. And I'll give you another, for instance. I attended Ryan McKean's $100 million day. I paid for an attorney to come with me from our office. And I sat down during cocktail hour with 2 students, right? These students wanted to be trial attorneys. Now they were in a room with trial attorneys and trial firm owners like myself. And, they were asking great questions. They were like, so what advice would you give for somebody who wants to try cases and become a great trial attorney? I'm like, get trial experience. Go to a firm like mine where if you want to try cases, you'll get files on your desk your first week. If that's what you want. Not everybody has to do that. But I said, my advice is go someplace regardless of what they're going to try to pay you in the beginning. Now, I personally don't believe in paying people low, but I said it's the experience you want. And but more than that, I said the same thing. I'm like, you ever think about coming to New York? I will always make room for somebody with that mindset where they're going to show up at a conference. You know how brave you have to be as a law student to show up into a room of trial attorneys and firm owners like that room.
Yeah.
Right?
Also,
the egos that you're dealing with and the success and the success levels you're dealing with. You're dealing with people that took $100 million verdict and you're walking into that room as a law student.
Yeah.
Or somebody who's just about to graduate. So to me, I know we're off on a tangent already, but getting into rooms where you feel uncomfortable, that's valuable. That's going to show me, oh, Jules, I sent you to this thing all the way across the country. You did something brilliant. You connected with somebody I connected you with who's a very successful powerhouse female attorney that I've had on the show, Sue-Ann Van Dermiden. Vandermiden. I always say it wrong.
I think you said it right the first time.
Van Dermiden. And Sue-Ann, I'm seeing her when I go out to EOS, but I was so proud of the fact that you took it upon yourself, the initiative to take her up on her offer. Like, Juliet, anytime you want to call me, here's my cell, and you set up a dinner for yourself.
Yeah.
I didn't tell you to do that, but I'd like to think a little bit that I'm rubbing off on you, that you took an initiative to build a relationship with somebody that you would never have had access to back in the day. But because of what you're doing and the people you're meeting, you now have access. You will have the same access, and hopefully you have the UVU contact card on your phone. You're going to LMA and you're going to Pilma with me, right? And that's where you will build your ladders of success, where you will build a network of people that will help you bring more value to your role, which means I got to pay you more money. And it will also help you bring more value to your life, right? Yeah. It will enrich your life because now the 5 people closest to you are going to start to include bigger players. One of the other big takeaways is making yourself dispensable in your business, right? The highest value that you can bring to the business of a law firm is by making the law firm completely not reliant on you as the owner. And I've been in the room with people who are straight up business people at this point, and they should never and would never and never want to touch a file. I am somewhere very close to that point as I hire more and I hire more skilled, people. And then you have people that are still firmly entrenched in the technician role, right? But I think if you want to build it like a business, that's what makes it the most valuable.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to make yourself completely dispensable. You should not be the hero in your law firm business.
Mm-hmm.
So that was another big takeaway, right? And there were people in that room that have full C-suites,
Yeah.
right? They're running these massive corporations, and they got full C-suites at this point, which is where I'm looking to go, quite honestly. What else did I take away from it? Excellent conversation on KPIs and data, which comes up in a
beautiful.
lot of my masterminds. And that's
Yeah.
a big thing, because if you're running your business like a business, then it runs on data, not intuition and not emotion.
Mm-hmm.
So the importance of data is a recurring theme on the rooms that I'm in, because there's only one way to scale. And that's by studying the data, seeing what works and seeing what doesn't work, eliminating what doesn't work or improving it, and amplifying what is working.
Mm-hmm.
And we went through a budgeting exercise, because most law firms don't do that stuff. Guys don't look at the numbers, ladies don't look at the numbers, and they go on intuition, and they go on, oh, do we have enough people walking through the door to pay the monthly rent and pay myself? And that's not what real businesses do, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you got to have a budget, which I've always had, because I work with a fractional CFO, but again, I can always get better at it. And I learned new things about hearing how 8-figure firms are structuring their budget, what they do for marketing. What some firms are spending. If I told you the amount they spend on marketing, your hair would curl curlier than it is. One of the things that came out of it that was really cool is that when you're in your 50s, you're firmly entrenched in a different mindset than when you're in your 40s, your 30s, and your 20s. And that is, you're more aware of your own mortality, and the need for succession planning becomes very real, because if you think about it, how old are you, Jules?
24.
24. You're going to be 25 when?
In like a month.
25. Okay. So 25 times 52, you've lived 1,300 weeks, right? The average lifespan, let's say you use 80, is 4,000 weeks. 4,000 weeks, because you take 52 weeks times 80 is 4,160. How many did I say you lived already? 1,000 what?
1,500.
Okay, so 1,300. You only have 2,860 weeks left. 2,860 weeks.
That does not sound like a lot at all.
I use a countdown tracker on my phone now, but I have only 1,269 weeks left.
You got 2 if you keep bothering me.
You're a mess. All right, look, on that note, it is this. The biggest takeaway, one of the biggest takeaways was, it's not about money. It's not about, what you can buy. It's about how you spend your time and the people you spend it with. That's your biggest asset, is time. And it's the one thing that you cannot buy. And so, yeah, I've been using this countdown timer now with a 4,000 week analysis of, okay, what's my 80th birthday? And, I got 1,269 weeks left, right? So do the math on that. I'm 55, so 5 takes me to 60. So 25 years left. I got less in front of me than I do behind me. Now, am I only going to go on vacation once a year? 25 vacations? And that's assuming I could even travel into my 80s. So it was a real eye opener to listen to other people's goals of what the pinnacle of their career was. We did an exercise called the summit and what that would look like. And by summit, like, what is the pinnacle of your life going to look like? How are you going to spend it? What is it going to look like? And it was a great exercise to do because it makes you envision and then plan accordingly for time management, finance management, resource management, all of these different things. So yeah, being in the room was a trip. It was worth every penny, and it was pretty significant. It was pretty significant. A lot of the takeaways are going to change a lot of the things I'm doing right now in a very positive way.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that, like, you know, you had a very successful trip, and you know, you just have such this thirst for knowledge, which is like incredible to see and very inspiring. So you're doing so good. You're
You
doing
cannot
so
imagine,
good.
you
You're doing
cannot
great.
imagine how much your approval means to me. That was sarcastic, Tom.
Well, and on that note, so I hope you guys enjoy.
You're like a cheerleader. You're like, this is awesome. He loves it. I'm like, really, Jules? Come on, man.
Well, I hope you guys all enjoyed today's episode. You know, if you are not a part of a mastermind or don't have rooms like this yet, just go out and find them. You can find them in any area that you are looking at.
And reach out to me on LinkedIn. I know which ones are the real deal, and I'm happy to share my experiences in all the masterminds that I've attended across the country over the last 20 years.
Thomas Tona on LinkedIn. I always put his LinkedIn link in the show notes, so be sure to check that out. And, you know, follow the show, rate the show, and share it with your friends. And that is all we've got.
You are the best.
Bye.
Bye.